Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Today we are coming back to a concept we have already seen, and we want to go a little bit further and see what we haven't known, haven't learned before. Okay, the topic is ranges, and of course we have seen that. Okay, a very quick review. And remember, last lecture we talked about the file accessing, and that's a really important topic because there will be, as I promised, one or two questions in the final exam. And by the way, that will also be an important part in the coding part of the midterm 2 as well. Okay, and we learned the exception handling. And for the exception handling, there are three major blocks. There's a try block, and the try block is for some risky code. And there is a except block, and the except block will only be triggered when there is an exception. And then we also have a finally, and for the finally block, it will be triggered anyhow, no matter we have an exception or not. And then we learn the file IO, and for the file IO, well, the number one thing you want to remember is the read. You have to read. You want to do a open. So open and then open the file name, and plus, do you want to do a R for read or W for write or A for append, right? There are a total of three options we have learned: R, W, or A. And then you can read the file, you can write into the file, and remember you also want to close the file references. So today we are revisiting the ranges, and for the ranges, those are the two versions we have already known. The number one, if we only specify where to stop, and then by default it will start from the 0. And remember, for the stop point, it will be excluded from the range. So we are stopping right before the stop point, but we are not including the stop point. And if we want to specify where to start and where to end, and then you can do the second version. The start point will be included, and then the stop will still be excluded. Okay, and one thing probably you remember is, say, if we have my range equals range 20, and then if you want to do a print of my range, and then you won't see the numbers inside. So it will only tell you that it's a range from 10 to 20. So if you want to do a print, and then you want to do a typecasting, you are casting the range into a list. And then when you are doing the printing, you are not printing the range anymore, you are printing a list. So you will see all the numbers inside. So that is a range 20, so from 0 to 19. Okay, so let's move on. And here are two iterations. If you want to see all the values in the range 4, and then we can do a iteration for I in the range 4. And if you want to print the I value, and then the I value should be 0, 1, 2, and 3. If that means if we are doing the range 4, or if you want to do a range 10, well, the iteration will run for 4 times or 10 times, but it will run from 0 to n minus 1 if the range is a range n. Okay? Okay, so let's see this exercise question. What happens if you give a range only one argument, and for example range 4, A, B, C, D, which one is correct? And the answer should be A. It will generate a sequence starting at 0. Okay, the starting point by default will be 0. And then the every number include up to, but not including the argument. For example, 4. So we are going to stop right before the value 4 because 4 is excluded. Okay, and then here is one more version of the range. We can specify where to start, where to end, and then we can also do the steps. Okay, so now there are 3 parameters. So let me go ahead and give you an example. Say my range equals range, say from 0 to 21, and then I'm using the step as a 3. And then I know if I want to get that, I can't do this one because I want to see what are the values inside. So I want to use this one. So let me just do a copy and paste. And we are going to start from the 0. But this time, the step size will be 3. So what are we going to have? We're going to have 0 and increase by 3. We have 3, increase by 3 again. We have 6, increase by 3, 9. And then we are going to increase to 18. And if we increase 3 again, it will be 21. But this is the stop point. And remember, the stop point is excluded. So we can't really have 21 here. So that's the reason we are stopping at 18. Okay, so let's come back here. Say if we have the range 0, 19, and 2, and then we have 0 and increase by 2, we have 2, increase by 2 again, we have 4, but we are going to stop at 18. Okay, and then if we do a range 0, 20, and 2. Okay, so this is 0, 19, and 2. This is 0, 20, and 2. So we start from 0, 2 again, but after 18, we cannot go to 20. And this part, again, after 18, we do not have 20. So it's kind of funny because even though we have two different ranges, we stop at different points, but since the step size is 2, actually for those two versions of the ranges, we are having the same thing, right? And if we are doing this weird range, we start from the 10 and then we end at 0. And we have the step size as a -1. So every time, instead of increasing the value, we decrease the value by 1. So we start from 10 because 10 is the start point, is included. And then we decrease by 1, decrease by 1, decrease by 1, and we reduce the value to 1, but we want to stop there because if we decrease the value by 1 again, we are going to have a 0, and the 0 is the stop point that's excluded. Okay, so let's see this exercise. In the command range 3, 10, 2, what does the second argument 10 specify? So what does the 10 mean? Okay, so the answer should be A again because the range should generate a sequence that stop before 10 without including 10. This means that, well, the largest value we can possibly get from this range will be 9 because 10 is definitely excluded. Okay? And here's another exercise. What could the second parameter 12 be if we want to have a different range than 2, 12, and 4, but still we have the same numbers? Well, this is the interesting one. So take a look. I believe the answer should be C. Okay, and how do we do that? So range 2, 12, and 4. So let me just plug it in here. 2, 12, and 4. Right? Okay, if I run this, and what are the values inside? So that is 2, 6, and 10. Okay, so the stop point is 12, so we can't go beyond 12. Okay, and if we want to do a 11, are we getting the same thing? The answer is yes. So if we do the 10, are we getting the same thing? The answer is no, because 10 is the last value. So if we do the 2, 10, 4, and then 10 is excluded. So we can do 11, but we can't do 10. And then we have 12, and then how about 13? If we do 13, we are going to stop at 10 again, because 10 plus another 4 will be 14. And then if we stop at 13, we ain't going to have one more value. And how about 14? If we do 14 here, we are going to stop at 14 without including 14, so still we got the same values. Okay, so the answer should be 12, 11, 13, or 14. They are all good. Okay, so well, I want to stop the video here. This video might be long enough, and I will see you in the next one.